So we have Sweet Trip here. I guess I'll start with the first question. So how has COVID impacted your workflow, and how is the new album coming along?
It definitely slowed down our recording. It also affected where we are recording, because we had plans to use a studio, but because there's nothing open, so we're just kind of having to do it in the bathroom or here in the new at home. So we just have to make with what we have, because we do have deadlines, and so we just do it here instead
Deadlines
of
from Darla?
Yeah.
Cool.
So
and
then
sorry, no.
Yeah, slowed it down, so it's a little bit later than we thought we would put it out for that reason.
Yeah, I've definitely experienced that as well. I've worked a lot over Zoom, writing stuff over MIDI. Cool. So I guess just general questions. What was your relationship with music when you were children, and when did you start playing instruments, and when did you get into electronic glitchy production?
I go. Well, I've always been interested in music, I guess, since I was a kid. So I used to gather my street friends and my school friends, like my neighborhood friends. Street friends sounds kind of funny. I'm originally from Panama, and I've been importing and exporting drugs since I was 8. I mean, we share a border with Colombia, so it's easy. I used to gather my neighborhood friends, and we used to play cassettes on a boombox, and I will dictate. I will tell my friends to be the drummer and the bass player and the guitar player. We all had tennis rackets and pots and pans. I've always been interested in putting music performance.
What kind of music did you guys like back then?
Well, back then I was really into hard rock and metal and reggae a lot. So that was basically what we would quote unquote play. Sit around the porch and start performing for the entire neighborhood and the street friends. I always wanted to be a bass player, but I was so naive and ignorant about music equipment and their costs and price points and things like that. So I always thought that for some reason I thought that a guitar was cheaper than a bass guitar, because the bass guitar looked bigger than the electric guitar. So I put the bass guitar dream aside, got a guitar super cheap on a catalog. I tried to learn it for a year. I gave up in 2 months. I didn't play it for a year and a half. I got scolded by my family for wasting my money on that. And then one day I just picked it up again, and magically I tuned it properly for the first time, and it just went from there. And then I've been playing the guitar since I was 13 or 14 or something.
Awesome. Yeah. And how old are? Or sorry, no, yeah, go. Were you gonna say something about it?
Well, for me, my parents influenced me to love music. They always, even as a baby in the womb, my mom said she would listen to the radio and have it right next to her tummy, so that I would, at a young age, hopefully appreciate music. So then they listened to a lot of bossa nova type music, like Sergio Mendes, Astrud Gilberto, or a lot of Burt Bacharach or the Beatles type stuff. And then so I grew up liking that stuff. And then they forced me to take piano lessons at age 9. So that's how I got started into music. But the teacher only taught us classical music, which at the time I didn't appreciate it as much. So then I preferred, like, I wish they taught me jazz or something else, improvising. But then, so then I kind of quit piano after 2 years. And then my dad's friend was playing classical guitar. So then I really loved that sound. And then, I kind of like wanted to copy him. So that's how I got started, like, liking the guitar. And then he gave me his guitar. And then as a teenager, like 16, one of my friends who was getting rid of a guitar, an electric guitar, sold it to me for $25, and then that's how I started playing electric guitar when I was 16. Just basically trying to copy shoegaze bands that I was liking at the time.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
That's how it started.
Cool.
Done.
That's how it's done.
I got into picking up.
Yeah. How old were you guys when you started experimenting on the production side of things?
16. 16.
Yeah.
I started out with a Tascam 4-track thing with a cassette. That's really how it effect pedals and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think I also had a Tascam 4-track. Maybe I got mine a year before yours. I might have been like 15 or so. When I started, I also had a cheap ass Casio keyboard thing where I'll just like bang drum beats on it, and that was like my band, my jam band.
Yeah, those drum machines. Yeah.
Yeah, I was shocked to hear that Halika was recorded on a 4-track in one of your previous interviews. It sounds it's just crazy.
Thank you.
So I know that before the days of DSP and plugins and all that, you used a lot of outboard gear, like rack mount stuff. And I was curious if you're still into that, or if you've shifted more so into plugins.
More so into plugins, just because it's more convenient.
Mm-hmm.
The workflow is different, like completely different from using real rack mount stuff and synthesizer stuff. But it's really not. It's just like it's really not a hindrance. It's just like it's a different mind frame. I do have, like, if I do collect gear, are mainly for the purpose of like possible live shows and things like that, but everything is basically done on a computer.
Cool. Do you ever use guitar pedals in the studios these days? Because I saw in another interview that I think you described the end of Fruitcake and Cookies with, you said that you use a Boss phaser.
Yeah, so I still have that pedal and I still use it a lot. I use a lot of, I every once in a while I'll hook up a pedal. I have a, what do I have? Like, I really like the Boss phaser and the Boss flanger, the ones from the early 80s. I think they're really gnarly, and that's why I use them a lot.
And it's purple.
And it's purple, yeah.
A flanger.
Yeah,
I have one too.
Yeah. In fact, I think,
We know that color.
I think I got my flanger because you had a flanger.
Oh, anyway, you copied me.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, we love those Boss pedals. Like the digital reverb delay, that's also a favorite. And yeah.
But yeah, like every once in a while, I'll put on the pedal and go straight into the computer. Especially if it's like something that I can get from a plugin. Like I have this, like, I'm a big fan of Boss pedals, and there was a time where I was like trying to like mod the pedal just to get something, just to make it sound different. And I kind of messed up this one pedal like really badly, but it sounds really awesome.
Oh, cool.
And so like I use that every once in a while, just to get like a gnarly guitar sound.
Cool. Which pedal is that?
That's the light yellow super overdrive.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I love using pedals in the studio, like sending pads and stuff through distortion pedals. Can get very interesting.
Yeah, they're cool.
So just in general, what other kinds of tools do you like to use to create glitchy textures? Do you just like process stuff with like many different effects at once to get it to the point that where it doesn't sound like the original source material anymore? Or, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's one way of doing it. A lot of that stuff is done manually, so it takes a lot of time to achieve those sounds. There's a lot of trial and error and starting over and trashing things and keeping things and whatnot. It is a combination of adding a bunch of effects, a combination of just cutting things in really obtuse ways that don't make any sense other than us. And just like I kind of like it's kind of it's hard to describe because there's some element of randomness to it, but at the same time there's an element, because I'm doing it manually, I am dictating what ends up being what it is, as opposed to using like an automated tool. So yeah, I mean, it's really hard to describe because it's just a lot of work.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's really gratifying, I think.
Yeah, combination of different equipment, different factors. Like, yeah, it's not like he said. It's not like you do it all afterwards and then use the computer to do the glitch. So sometimes I try to sound like I'm glitching myself while I'm doing some vocals. So I have done that before, so that it's like quadruple glitches when it goes to Robbie.
You should stutter more often.
Yeah, I always pause and stutter like, oh, I messed up. Oh, well, just use it like that or what?
Yeah. We're not.
Just keep it.
Yeah, we're not. We're really bad, but in a really good way.
Kind of random. Like,
Cool. Do you have any like desert island gear, stuff that you couldn't live without?
Yeah, guitars. The guitar.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, maybe at the very basic acoustic guitar, like classical guitar, nylon string, 6-string. At least I don't need power on the desert, so I can play music.
Yeah, I actually agree with that. Like, I think that my desert island instrument would probably be a nylon guitar too, because it'll be small, not too heavy, and just comfortable enough to play, because I'll probably be playing it for the rest of my life in this desert island. So.
Yeah, plus when you're trying to come up with a sound or a melody in your head, that's the first thing usually we pick up is like something easy. No need to plug in, turn on the power. You just sort of like have to figure it out first on a instrument that's like acoustic guitar, and then from there, if it sounds good, you just kind of mess with it from there, and then before it becomes
cool
produced.
Yeah, I think that if you and I were stuck in a desert island, we only have one guitar, we can easily find like trunks and coconuts and do percussions with that too.
Yeah. It's true.
And then the wind and the wave would be a reverb.
Yeah.
Are there any odd studio techniques that you guys are fond of using, like reamping through like weird choices of amps or getting natural reverb or anything strange like that?
I think that our production process is like is really it. It's just really odd, in my opinion. But like I don't know, like special things.
Yeah, we never really try to do anything into our environment, whichever room we're recording in. It's not like we have padding or try to change the acoustics. It's just wherever we are is where we record. And only recently we just had to use the bathroom because of noise from the street. Because again, the COVID, we can't use a rented studio. But in the past, for example, with VDC, yeah, I just for what I had to do, I recorded in my room as well, just the bedroom, and there's no special like things we had to do in the room to generate more acoustics or manipulate it. Nothing like that. So it's very basic. Yeah.
Yeah, our recording process is really basic. I think the complicated part is actually like once things get recorded, how they get combined and controlled on the computer.
Yeah.
Man, like really, it's so basic that I can't really think. Like the only thing that I can think of that might be an answer, but it's also really boring. It's that I used to have a portable, like one of those like portable guitar amps. They're just like tiny little box, and I used to. So what I used to do is that I will plug in the guitar to that little amp. I'll play a chord. I'll put the amp like right on the pickups and get this like early feedback, and it's just like take the headphones out. Oh no, I think it was the other way. Something like that. It was rigged in a way that I could put the amp like right on the pickups, get some like really crazy feedback, and just record it on that.
That's awesome. That's interesting that you say that about the little mini amp, because Dana and I have used one of those little amps to reamp like everything out of, and it's like a secret weapon. It's really fun to mess around with. Yeah,
those things are really helpful. I think I've even put like big headphones like right against the pickups just to get the same sound, because I don't have that mini amp anymore. That's like the only thing that I can think of like physical tips and tricks.
Cool. So now some questions about VDC. I know that when you first released it, I think I heard this in an interview, Valerie, your dad said that he was confused by it and it said it should sound more like the Beatles.
Oh yeah.
I was curious if you could just elaborate on that more.
Oh yeah, because of all the noise, and it was just very sort of weird that not many people ever like really knew of music like that. And so when he heard it, I let him hear it. He was like, "Oh my God, what is this? I'm so disappointed. You mean this is what you've been doing?" And then he was like, "Why does it sound like the speakers are broken? This is terrible." He was like, "It's terrible because it sounded like he wasn't sure if his speakers busted or what." And then he didn't understand it. So he was saying, if I wanted to make money, if I wanted to gain respect as a musician, then I should do music more like the Beatles, because he loves them. So he was saying like that was real music. And then I was saying, well, we don't want to do what everyone's already done. So that's why he didn't understand. And at the time, I'm like, oh, well, no one's going to understand, but you do it because you want to do that. It's what you want. And if you don't want to copy everyone else, then just do your thing. So Like, I'm in this band because I love the music that's coming out of this band, and I just, it's what we were influenced by, well, like all the sounds that we wanted, and just what we wanted to do, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what, yeah, my dad was like, he's like, it sounded like shit. He's like, it sounds like shit. I'm not really,
God, that's ridiculous.
because they didn't know why did it just cut, and then the noisy. It's like, it's so noisy. But anyways.
I got ambushed by her dad too.
Oh no.
He didn't he didn't tell me that it was shit, but he
didn't say it that way. In Tagalog, there's a word that is similar. It sounds like crap, basically.
Oh, okay. Well, he basically gave me the same speech like, you guys need to make money, so you have to play like Beatles covers and stuff like that. I was like, yeah, okay.
Yeah. He was shocked. Oh, and then for Halika, my auntie, she was like, "What is this? New age? Is this new age?" Like, why are the vocals so low? But she didn't understand that it's because we didn't mean for the vocals to be like vocals. It just was more like a back sound. It wasn't supposed to be the main focus of the song.
Yeah, totally.
Everyone was telling us, like, you need to turn this up, turn that down, this and that.
Mm-hmm. Did your family ever warm up to VDC?
No, that I don't know. I don't really care because it's different. I understand where they're coming from. They're like, they love classical music, jazz music. It's different. They don't get it, so that's okay.
Yeah, totally. I mean, a lot of my favorite music was really hard to digest at first, and I think it definitely took me a few months of being exposed to Velocity to really truly appreciate it. There's like a breakthrough period that you have to get through. The other side is very nice.
Cool.
So where did the inspiration for VDC come from as opposed to Halika? Because it gets a lot different. Did you start listening to different music around that time, or yeah?
I think there wasn't like, I think it was just a progression. I mean, we had been listening to a lot of things that influenced VDC for a while, like like your typical shoegaze stuff and your typical electronic IDM stuff. And it was just a matter of getting more confident about putting it together, but but at the same time, there was like not that much thought about it. It wasn't like we like sat down at the dinner table and said like, okay, what's going to be our next record? Let's make it a shoegaze IDM record. it just naturally happened. It's kind of hard to describe like how that specific project was influenced, because it was just like, I don't know. It was just like we've always been listening to a lot of music, and all that stuff just sort of came out. I think that maybe the reason why we were able to realize it was because we finally got a proper computer to record with, as of using 4 tracks and or like just a standalone digital recorder. Yeah, I mean, it's yeah, I think it's in a nutshell, it's just like a natural progression. It just and that, I mean, that it shows, because that record is a total mess, and it's totally random. It's just like ideas thrown in and see what happens,
Yeah.
Like, on the wall.
Yeah, I think Roberto was really getting into like quantizing and stuff like that on the computer, and then he was making a lot of dance type music with like sick beats and stuff like that, and I think he just went crazy on VDC. Like, he just wanted to keep doing it, whatever, like a science lab of of music with a computer where he just wanted to try everything out.
It was like it kind of like every time I think about this question, I always in the back of my mind I think of like a good analogy for like how VDC came about. And like I told you, like at the time that we started working at VDC, I got a decent computer to do stuff with. And I had a friend who gave me a CD-ROM with a bunch of like free software and stuff like that, and that's how I started. But it was kind of like my analogy is kind of like let's say you're like struggling financially, and all of a sudden you win the lottery, and you just like blow it all out. It was kind of like that.
That's awesome. Just a disclaimer, the meeting might end abruptly because of the 40-minute little timer thing. So I'll send you guys another invite if that happens. So
Okay.
apologies in advance.
That's all right.
Can you describe the writing process for VDC at all? Was it mostly written on guitar or in MIDI, and how did that translate to what's heard on the album?
It was written in many ways. A lot of like there's several songs on VDC that were written like right after Halika on guitar. There were things that were just like circling in our heads, and we just like got on the computer and try to put it together. Like the writing process was all over the place. It's like our writing process is all over the place.
Yeah, like you would have samples of things that you don't know where you'll use it, and then later on you just sort of like piece it together like a puzzle. Like I remember I was doing like talking into the microphone and just coming up with all kinds of weird phrases here and there. And then we're like, well, what are we gonna use this for? Whatever, just do it. Just record, sing a little ditty here and there, and then just sort of like a puzzle later on. Just put them together. That too is a writing process.
Like stolen.
On different days, different. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like that.
Just use this here, and we'll use this then. Take pulling from different parts and sources, and yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's really disorganized.
Yeah.
That's our.
Yeah, like we don't finish one song first, because some bands they work on one song first till they're finished. But in Sweet Tripp's case, it's like there's like 10 different songs that are half done or undone, and they're all being worked on all at the same time.
Mm-hmm. I can definitely relate to that.
Yeah.
Cool. Are there any other genres besides electronic music and shoegaze that you think you would say primarily influence your writing?
What's the question? Are there any? Sorry.
Are there any genres other than electronic music and shoegaze that you would say primarily influence your writing?
Oh yeah, dark wave goth. I love classical music, especially like I love Tchaikovsky,
Mm-hmm.
and I also like the classical music because there's so much going on with it, and it helps to bring out emotion.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, after listening to that, sometimes I get really sad, and then I kind of mess around with melodies.
Cool.
But yeah, classical music too for me. And what else? For you, heavy, like for you, black metal maybe, or I don't know.
Almost all sorts of metal. I also, I also grew up listening to reggae and Caribbean music when I was a kid. I was really exposed to that. We both like bossa nova because we have a history with that. What else?
Oh yeah, also hip hop. I do like that too and appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like electro. I mean, no, that's part of electronic. But no, there's so many different kinds of music that
Hmm.
Yeah.
we love everything.
Yeah.
Cool.
I
Speaking of
almost
classical music, are
everything.
you into Ryuichi Sakamoto at all?
Oh, I do appreciate it, but I don't love it as much. But yeah, I do respect Ryuji Sakamoto, and but yeah, I haven't listened to him enough to like love it.
Cool.
Yeah.
So a lot of the sounds on Velocity sound like intentionally otherworldly. How do you go about fishing out these sounds, and how do you know when they're right? I even have some examples of them.
Um, I think sometimes I might have an idea of like just a really vague, really vague idea of what I'm looking for. Um, so sometimes it's like trying to match a really abstract concept with whatever I'm playing with at the time and see if the two can be combined together, or if one can turn into the abstract concept and make it concrete, whatever. It um, it's really like it's really trial and error, but with some sort of idea of what could possibly sound decent at the time. Wait,
Yeah, the phone.
no, just keep it like that. You derailed me.
Oh, you were saying, uh, how do you know when BDC was done? Like a kind
Oh yeah, the sounds. I mean, it's really like it's like once I have kind of an idea, once I start playing with some sounds, like I'll start with something really simple, add effects, try to program the sound closer and closer to what I have in my head, keep adding more effects, keep taking effects in and out while the sound is moving.
But I think maybe deadlines too from the label. It's when you say, okay, this is done, because otherwise you're never done and you want to keep messing with it.
Yeah.
So it helps when our label guy, James, says, okay, how's the record coming along? Kind of thing. And then we listen to it and like, I love it, Robbie, this is good. Or you're like, okay, it sounds fine now. I think it's great. I love what you did. So then it's done. Let me know what else sounds crappy, or if something needs to be taken out or what. Yeah, what is this? Take it off. So yeah, that's when we know it's done, I guess. Yeah. When it feels right, like you'll feel it. When you listen to it, you get the feelings, like you feel emotion come out.
Absolutely.
So.
Yeah, that's totally right.
That's how you messing with it and changing things.
Cool. Do you find when you're making music that you get more out of the process of creation or the final product of what you created? And do you feel at all like winded by what you've created by the time that it's done?
Winded? No, not really. I think just like to piggyback on what she said, like when you mentioned like deadlines from Darla Records and stuff, like sometimes I also we impose each other, not deadlines, but we just say like, okay, that's enough, that's it, it's done. Not because we're winded, but just because we don't want to push it, and once we get to that point, we're pretty satisfied with things and not winded or exhausted or like
Yeah,
never.
we feel the same way. Like while we are doing the record, we feel just as energetic or happy or satisfied as when it's done. During and after recording, it's not like we're much happier that we're finished and now that we're hearing it completed and done and mastered and everything, that we're so much happier, because the process of recording in itself is like so much fun, and it's like just as good, the what you get out of it
Mhm.
after it's finally packaged and out and
Yeah,
released and all that.
I don't think there's ever. Well, at least for me, I don't think there's ever been a time where like we finish a project and I say like I'm never gonna hear this again.
I'm so sick of it.
I'm so sick of it.
Yeah, totally.
Playing it over and over,
Yeah,
practicing, memorizing. Yeah, I'm sick of this song.
yeah, yeah. That doesn't happen.
Cool. So I know that you guys are working on another album. I saw the little Instagram teaser that you posted today, Valerie.
To keep you guys on your toes. Be like, yes, we're still working on it. It's coming. Don't worry. Like, see, we're progressing here.
We're alive.
So what do you think we can expect from it? Will it be more on the glitchy side or more stripped down? Like You'll Never Know Why. Not to compare it with your previous work at all, but
I feel like it's a mix of both.
cool.
Well, a little bit of both, yeah.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I agree too. I think it's like it kind of sits in the center of our last three records. It's kind of like a like a collection of best practices in a way. Like all the things that we learned from all the stuff that we put out. It just sort of like stewed together for this one. So it's a little more. I don't know. Maybe it's a little more focused. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah. Not as crazy as VDC, but it's still very interesting.
And it's not as stripped down as You Will Never Know Why.
Yeah, not either.
Yeah, it's more complex than that, I think.
Yeah.
Well, I can't wait to hear it. I'm sure a lot of other people can't either.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, the meeting has less than a minute left to go until it'll automatically end. So maybe I'll just start a new one and send you an invite. I only have one more question, anyways.
Okay.
All right, I'll see you guys in a sec.
Okay.
So your wall's purple, huh? That's nice. Your wall is it just the? It's cool.
More pink in real life, but I think the light makes it look perfect.
Oh no, I like pink. Oh my gosh.
I like the purple.
We were saying that's such a nice room, like where you are, your room, and that's a real musician's room right there.
Thank you.
It's great. Did you see his room? After we got off, bro, did you see that room?
You see all those guitars in the background.
Oh my god, did you see his room? Damn.
I'm not even gonna flip my phone and show you what I have here. Hell no.
So the last question is purely out of curiosity. A lot of my friends have heard this lyric differently. Is it into the lighthouse, into the lotus, into the lava sea? I've always been curious.
Into the letters. No, I'm kidding. I did see that. People saying that. No, it's into the light. I see you. Kind of like Yoda. Into the light I see. Into the light I see.
Cool.
Yeah.
So we were all wrong.
I know. I felt like Yoda when I was singing. Into the light I see.
Cool. Well, that's all the questions I have.
Cool.
Once again, thank you guys so much for doing this.
Oh no, thank you so much for asking us to do this. It's fun and we really appreciate you guys. And yeah, it's thanks to you that people are finding finding our music because
Oh,
of
no
you
way.
guys.
Yeah.
No, you and Dana, I think personally responsible for this groundswell. I know. So yeah, thank you so much.
Of course, thank you. And happy
Absolutely.
Halloween.
Thank you.
Yeah, and you guys are awesome too. Your music is really great. So I'm
Thank you so
glad.
much.
Like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for sending us music, and we do follow your stuff. So yeah, keep it up. You guys are awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Yep.
We're just so happy that you guys are listening. We have a lot on the way.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Cool.
Good
All right.
job.
Well, thanks, guys.
All right.
Peace out. Have a great day.
Bye.
You too.